In Buddhism, there is a term called unanswered questions. This came from the story when Buddha received 10 metaphysical questions from practitioners of other religions. Despite the questions directed his way, Buddha remained silent and did not respond, and this became known as the unanswered questions.
So, A Letter from Carl Jung was just such an interesting piece and narration where you really did get two different experiences of hearing everything that was happening versus just the visual and the music in the backdrop. And something that I really did like about the narration was that it was just very informative, it was very educational. It brought me back to my days of studying human behavior and psychology, and it really did break it down into layman terms so anyone could really understand what um, makes a person, their ego, their personas, the way that we kind of work with our mind to really break down everything about it. So it was really interesting to kind of hear back about that and to uh, be refreshed on those studies and just how relevant it is. And it was really interesting, mainly because of everything that was happening in the background kind of presented more of a olden day Asian culture and art form versus this letter in a sense where it is a modern psychological study and how it's relevant from past to present still. So overall, it's a very interesting watch for me.
A Letter from Carl Jung was a very fascinating glimpse into both the world of religion and psychology. I feel like I got to learn a lot about Buddhism and shamans, while also learning about the different forms of psychology that Carl Jung taught. It was a very insightful experience that I very much enjoyed. It's always cool to learn more about how the mind ticks and the inner workings and how people work, and that's definitely my niche of fascination, so very much enjoyed.
The cinematography on this was absolutely stunning. It was really beautiful. I loved the show that they were doing at the theater, where the photographer was on the chair and he was taking pictures of the shaman as she was going through different ceremonies and capturing the spirit within that. I thought that that was absolutely gorgeous, and the costumes were amazing. So this entire thing, especially going through Carl Jung's psychological teachings, his beliefs, his viewpoint, that's something that has always been very fascinating to me. So I was really, really interested. This had me kind of on the edge of my seat, everything that was going on. Thought that it was really well shot. The sound was brilliant. The music was great, what I was experiencing through it. And I thought it was very smart for them to put a lot of the voiceover, and especially Carl Jung's quotes on the screen so that you could read them as the voiceover, as the narrator was actually speaking them, because that, for some reason, it helped me to understand what the quote was, not just hearing it, but being able to read it too. So I thought that that was very clever and very smart.
That was an interesting video, mixing performing arts and philosophical treatises and different video filming and playback techniques to kind of create this visual, oral, sensual kind of exploration of the psyche and what lies below the surface of what we perceive as everyday life. So yeah, the subject matter, that shaman, was very interesting to watch. The essay was quite dense and full of very interesting insights. Um, I thought that it was very provocative, and the um, the the musical style and the performance and the way that it was shown really lent itself to further meditation on what was being said and what was being presented. So I thought as a whole it worked quite well.
It really got me thinking. I think it was a great piece. I think it was a really informative piece, and really enjoyable to watch as well. So very well done.
This piece has such a beautiful stamp of culture on it, authentic and in the now. It's not just showing something that is decades old, but something that is still current and vital in the world. And that's what I think really gives the piece its pulse. The fact that these are practices and ideas and thoughts that are still being actively engaged with in the present day.
Wow. This is an incredible film. I learned so much. I didn't really know much about Carl Jung before this, so this was very eye-opening. The quotes and the teachings of Carl Jung, the beliefs of Carl Jung, very educational. I learned so much. And then that combined with the shaman and the photographer and the cinematographer, spectacular. Just really visually beautiful. I think my favorite moment in the whole thing was maybe 15 minutes in or so, 10 or 15 minutes. That whole section with just the photographer by himself on that rolling stool doing choreography or movement, or it was beautiful, just really stunning. I am so happy you made this movie. I learned so much, and I love how you ended it with a letter written by Carl Jung, hence the name of the film. And it's just beautifully constructed. Oh, also the narration's really great. So, all in all, wonderful. Congratulations. It's really, really well done.